This is the process shot. I'm Michael. I'm stuck in some kind of social class system, but I don't think that's why I can never get a date. Persuasion is a new romantic comedy drama period piece from director Carrie Cracknell, based on the Jane Austen novel of the same name. Following the experiences of Anne Elliot, who at a young age had accepted a marriage proposal from her lover, Frederick Wentworth, but was persuaded by her family to turn it down. Years later, the two reconnect when Anne is visiting with her sister and in-laws, and while she still harbors feelings for Wentworth, she tries not to make it known to him. This proves difficult, though, as Wentworth has expressed interest in marriage, and Anne's sister-in-law has expressed interest in Wentworth. Naturally, things get a bit murky from here, but it's not something you haven't seen before, I'm sure. It's the usual sort of romantic back and forth, will they, won't they, and all that other drama. It seems as if the filmmakers were aware of this tried and true but overly tired story approach, as they do try to put a few modern spins on several aspects and elements of the story and how it's told. Anne speaks directly to the audience. There are a few references to modern concepts and trends, and there's a generally more casual tone to what would otherwise be prim and proper for something said in the 19th century. It's not an entirely unwelcome approach, but in many ways it sticks out more as an oddity than it does to add to the story, mostly because it tends to come and go for the sake of comedy rather than remain a constant presence. It would have been interesting if the whole movie had been given this sort of postmodern makeup, taking the old world and giving it new context. But it all seems made more to let Anne make some jokes in narration or while breaking the fourth wall. And instead, what we get overall is a straightforward adaptation, with little variation beyond that. I mean, I never read the original book, but it doesn't seem like this movie is trying to add anything to the story in its themes or commentary. Anyways, the movie does at least spend most of its time trying to make itself look good. Most of the film seems shot on location, especially in rural or outdoor scenes, so the natural beauty of the landscape surrounding the characters is nice to look at. Cinematography knows this, and makes sure to emphasize whatever grandeur there is to find in a scene. Usually a vast ocean or field, but at several times a few luxurious building exteriors and interiors as well. The editing within the movie is a bit meditative, keeping everything slow and steady, both to let the story play out and to let the visuals take hold. Otherwise, it keeps to more practical and dramatic usage and doesn't play much into the comedy. The film's music keeps to something accurate for the period, which also feels like something that could have been given a modern treatment, with classical instrumental versions of modern pop or rock songs. But I guess nobody thought that far ahead. Either way, all the technical elements come through rather blandly, which I would say is a one-word summary of the movie. It's probably a bit extreme, but the film really is inoffensive and not very challenging, nor does it try to be anything of the sort. It wants to be a modern take on a literary classic, connecting with younger audiences through a language that they would know, but it doesn't go anywhere far enough to be considered anything like that, and so it just remains stagnant and swimming in its own muck. And that's a bit extreme too, I guess. Persuasion, Carrie Cracknell, 2022. 2 stars. I think it's tolerable enough that I'd recommend it if you want to watch it, but there are other options out there to get your Jane Austen fix. That's it for this review. If you liked it, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a comment. Subscribe to the channel for more reviews. I do wonder why the filmmakers stuck to the traditional elements of the story when they had a clear idea for something more creative. Either they're scared or they're stupid. My money is on one of those two.